side of the lake. Well, I'm back again. Out doing some fishing this morning. They ain't biting much, so I thought I'd pull over here and make a video. And boy, it's just a beautiful morning out. I love getting out in the morning. It's my favorite time of day. Just seen some deer back up in here. There's some geese along the bank over here. Can't beat it. But anyway, I thought I'd get on here and give you guys another story. So this next event I had happen was about 4 months ago, sometime during April, I think it was. And the lake was really low. It held back a lot of water. They was expecting the spring floods to hit. Last year the lake got way over full. And so, well, the last couple of years it did. So this year they was gonna try to be proactive, and they lowered the lake. I mean, they lowered it. It was probably, I wanna say 8 foot below normal, maybe 10. And I went up in the river channel, up towards where the lake empties in, and kind of fishing around and stuff. Fishing was pretty good then. And there's a big island out of the water. It was about 100 yards long, 50 yards wide. I was stopping there, look for arrowheads. And people have been looking for arrowheads all over the lake because the water's so low. A lot of stuff comes out, you know, where the old river channel used to be. Used to be a lot of Indian camps up through there. And so I pulled over there. You know, it was late evening, about an hour before dark. And I got out there. I was the only one around for good grief. I hadn't seen a boat a mile in either direction on the lake. So I was the only one in that area. And on one side of the lake, you got development. You got, you know, a lot of neighborhood up from there, another mile. And then there's just stuff on this side of the lake. On this other side of the lake, there's nothing. There's nothing for several miles on that side of the lake. No houses, no population, nothing. And this island come out of the water. It come right up to the bank almost. There's a channel of water coming in alongside of it, small mud flat you couldn't hardly cross coming up to it. Big cliff on one side, big hillside on this side. Kind of a cove went back up in, right where this island was. So I get out, I'm walking around. People's already been out there. There's holes dug all over this island. And they've been out there digging for arrowheads and stuff. You know, you can see tracks and this and that. And I'm like, good grief, you know. There's some chippings here and there, not a whole lot. So I started to make my way over towards the bluff side over here. Cove's right here, bluff's right here. Rock, cliff, bluff over here. Pretty high up. So I make my way over this side. I'm getting farther and farther away from the boat. I keep looking back. I'm like, geez, you know, I'm out here by myself. Fall in a mud pit, I'd be done for. So, but I get over there close to that edge. I'm kind of looking up, you know, up in this cove and this hill right here because there's bears around and stuff. And I can't hardly run very good because my legs are partially paralyzed. And so I get over here. I'm kind of apprehensive, you know, looking around. But I'm walking along looking for arrowheads. It's dead calm out there. Not a breeze, nothing. Late evening, hour before dark. So I get over walking along. All of a sudden, I hear a huge crash right up above me on this hill up in the woods. A big tree crashed and fell down. You could hear it pop, crackle, 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 pop, and you could hear the top come down. Just like a leafy top, just wasn't like a dead snag. A dead snag in the woods usually just makes a pop sound and then a thud hits the ground. This sounded like it had leaves on it, you know. So I'm like, what the hell was that, you know? And I used to be a logger. I grew up in the logwoods, and so I've spent years in the woods, and I've heard a lot of trees fall, and so I can kind of tell the difference when a snag falls or a dead tree falls beside when a tree falls that's got limbs and foliage. And you hear that popping and crackling of wood fibers breaking, which is very strange. And I was like, what the hell, you know? I was like, well, you know, trees fall in the woods, it happens. Could just be a coincidence, you know? So I keep walking, and as I'm walking, I'm getting kind of closer to this bluff over here. The island's kind of tracking towards this hill. So I walk about another 50, 60 feet, probably 50 yards, I guess. Maybe a minute, 2 minutes. And on this side, this cove's pretty big, goes back up in here. It's probably 100 yards, 200 yards, kind of channels back up in this big hill. And so I get another 40, 50 yards up, kind of tracking towards this big rock bluff over here. I'm walking along, and then I hear a pop. Well, I hear a loud rock pop sound, like a rock bouncing off another rock, but it's pretty loud thud type bounce, heavy, you could tell. And then I hear a thunk right down in here, over kind of down in the cove towards me. It was coming like right at me. And whatever that was, it was huge. I mean, when that sucker hit, that rock had to be the size of a basketball come off that cliff. That sucker flew through there, come down, thunked in the mud. Man, I looked around. Here I am out here all by myself. I'm like, you just get the feeling, you know, like something doesn't want you there. And so I was like, I gotta get the hell out of here, you know. And so I just turned around, started making my way back toward the boat. I was still, you know, 50, 75 yards away from the boat, and I can't run, so I'm kind of looking around, thinking about bears and this and that. But, you know, a tree falling, you can't say for sure whether it's dead or what the deal was. I mean, you can tell when it cracks like that and you hear leaves and foliage hitting the ground, but it still could be a coincidence. But then a big rock getting thrown off the bluff, the size of a freaking basketball, thunking in the mud. Yeah, no, that's not a coincidence. There's definitely something wanted me out of there, you know. So, and this side of the lake here is so uninhabited, you know. Ever since I was young, I heard stories, you know, 30 years ago, that side of the lake, you shouldn't go over there because there's wild hogs over there. That was always the story. This was way back, you know, in the 90s when there wasn't no hogs anywhere around here. There still ain't no hogs around here hardly. I mean, you may get a few up in here occasionally, but not like Texas or anything like that. So it just kind of makes me wonder, you know, maybe people were hearing stuff way back then. And also, you know, I've looked on the BFRO website in the area right there on the lake, and there have been a couple other stories that was reported to the BFRO website. One I think was back in the 70s. A woman had an encounter nearby there. Another one was a little bit later than that. I forget what year it was, but there's fishermen out in the boat in the middle of the night, and they had something loud up on the bluff above them, breaking trees and limbs and throwing stuff. And it scared them guys. They got out of there, so there's definitely something in the area around there. And it's the perfect location for them, you know. It's extremely remote, nothing there. Woods and forest for miles. Some of these woods around this lake, you know, it's all core land, and it's been that way since I think the 50s, you know, when they put the dam in. And there's just nothing around these lakes. Behind me here, these woods, they'll go probably a half a mile back that direction before you start getting into private land. You know, this lake's extremely remote, you know. There's not just not that much around it. Not very many houses, you know. You might see a house every mile up and down the lake. But anyway, I just want to get on here and tell you about that. And I had something happen to me just a couple weeks ago on down the lake about a half a mile. I was coming up alongside another bluff there, trolling along fishing. And up on the hill above me, this hill's like a, good grief, it's like 45 degrees, maybe a little steeper. Rock bluff coming up, and then hill going up. Woods, real thick. The other side of the lake is a freaking campground. People out there fishing on the bank. I'm going along this bluff, up on this hill, I start hearing limbs breaking and snapping. Not little limbs, like 2-inch round limbs popping and breaking and snapping right above me on this hill. I hear something moving around up there. Sounds like the size of a cow. I'm like, what the hell is that, you know? So I troll on down another 50 yards, and whatever it was followed me down that bank and broke off what sounded like a huge branch out of a tree. Just snap, crash, pop, you know. Come down, you can hear it breaking stuff up in there. So whatever it is, there's definitely some wild hairy man or Sasquatch, you know, activity going on there. There's just too many coincidences, you know. I've had this stuff happen quite a few times now, and there's just, you know, these skeptics, you mention anything about Sasquatch or Bigfoot to them, their immediate first response is they would have had pictures by now, somebody would have found one, you know, satellites, the government's watching everything. People actually think that the government monitors the entire earth all the time, you know. It's ridiculous. They don't realize that these satellites that they use have to have a pinpoint location to zoom in on, or else they can't see anything. You know, they can't scan hundreds or thousands of acres all at once. They got to have an exact location they zoom in on, then they can come on down, you know, they can see your license plate or whatever. But they're not out there looking all the time. And besides that, if the government did know, do you think they'd tell you? I don't think so. No, they're not going to tell you there's a race of wild Neanderthals or some type of supernatural being living in the woods. It's been around for thousands of years. You know, they want to say this stuff without looking into any evidence whatsoever. There's lots of evidence out there. And if you just take the time to look, get online and start researching, you'll find that people have been seeing these things literally for thousands of years. I think the first known account was in China about 2,000 years ago. They had tales of a wild, hairy person, hair-covered being that lived in the woods. And it's like that in every culture around the world. They've all got tales of this, you know, some type of wild person living in the woods. So, and then, you know, nowadays with the internet and YouTube getting real popular in the last 10 years, and now there's been a lot of these channels pop up, so, you know, a lot of people are able to get their stories out that wasn't able to get them out because of ridicule and just people making fun of them, stuff like that. And these people seen stuff back in the 70s, the 80s, just hundreds of stories online. And if you're a skeptic, I'd encourage you to just get online and watch a few videos. Now, I'll tell you right now, there's a lot of YouTube videos out there that's got people on there full of crap. And they're just, you know, they love attention. There's compulsive liars. There's people that are just trying to make money. And they get on there and just make crap up. And it's up to you to watch the stories and discern who's telling the truth and who's not. So, you know, you may watch 10 videos and you may get 5 or 6 of these people that are just nuts. But you'll find in there credible people that are telling the truth. Some of them are doctors, some of them are lawyers, military, police. Some of these guys are very credible witnesses. and they're out there. You just gotta do your research, you know, look at the evidence. They have found for hair, they've found DNA, they've found lots of footprints that couldn't be fabricated, you know. Go on there and study some of that science that's out there, and you'll be amazed at what you find. It's just unreal how many people have seen these things all over the country and all over the world. But anyway, I think I'm going to get back to fishing here and see if I can catch anything. Well, I'm going to try to do a little bit better editing on this video, and I'll be getting me a better camera here soon and stuff. So try to bring you guys some more stories and maybe even do some fishing or something on video. But anyway, everybody have a good day. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you later.